Go. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Rip Run adventure of the MVP Office Hours. It's really nice to see you all. Thanks for joining us. It is August 20th. To reiterate what we always do, Joy, Dale, and myself are all excited to be part of this meeting along with the rest of you. We can all be reached via Twitter. Our handles are there on the bottom, and emails to mvpofficehours at us@gmail.com are always responded to, and we usually bring them up in this meeting. The events for the coming 2 to 3 weeks, depending on when our next appointment is, put a pin in that. Haven't changed a lot. Pakistan Dreaming is still on the schedule. Dreamforce is still a big fat question mark. Although Salesforce Plus was a fun little announcement that I thought was pretty cool. Oaktown, Tahoe, and Florida are still on the calendar. Keep an eye on the status of those things in case the spikes and the hotspots change things. And please keep in touch with the Trailblazer group, our MVP Office Hours group, for posts, for commentary, for help. Sorry, why aren't you moving? There it is. All right. We normally meet on the first and third Friday of every month. However, the next Friday is the 3rd, and that is immediately prior to Labor Day weekend. So we will be jumping ahead to the 10th. So it will be the 2nd and the 4th in September. That would put us on the 10th, I believe, of September is the next one. And Portuguese Office Hours is always the last Thursday of the month. You don't have to speak Portuguese to be part of it. And Carlos, who is joining us today, is always more than happy to help translate and fill in the gaps if you want to participate. Carlos, anything to add there?
No, thanks for the plug-in. Yeah, you can speak Portuguese, any language we translate, and we always, feel blessed when somebody doesn't speak Portuguese, because it means that they want to make a contribution. So thank you.
You bet. And our hashtags, our Twitter handles are there at the top as well. So again, our next meeting will be the 10th of September. Normal registration of the bit.ly will always work no matter which one you're signing up for. And just remember, we are recording. So if you don't want to be recorded or you can't share and have it saved for perpetuity, please keep that in mind. Mute yourself when you're not sharing. If you've got a question, put it in the chat or raise your hand in Zoom, and we will keep track and get to you as soon as possible. When you get chosen to go next, please introduce yourself. Feel free to share your screen, but again, make sure that anything you're sharing isn't proprietary or should not be shared. Feel free to post any links, ideas, references in the chat, and everyone participates. We are it's MVP Office Hours, but we're all MVPs when we join. So, having said that, MVPs today, I saw 3 for sure, 4. Anybody? Cool. All right. No new links in the Link Hall of Fame. That makes me sad. I'm sure there should be something in here, but the order of execution is in a constant state of flux, so make sure that you're aware of it. And we'll jump right into items that were brought up in success. So I saw that Andrea had kind of a follow-up. I don't know if you want to go into that again. You did a pretty good job of summarizing it in the meeting or in the success, but want to give you an opportunity to take the podium. Do you want to jump in?
Dale was right.
Wait, what?
No, so this was that was when I had done I wanted to concatenate public groups to do all this crazy stuff to send an email, and Dale's put it in Chatter. I'm like, oh, okay, let's give this a whirl. And I had a VP who was very much well, we don't use Chatter, we use Slack. And I was like, let's just give this a go and see what happens. And he admitted he was wrong, and he's like, okay, you got me. So yeah, it's basically just a couple of decisions. Is it this? Does it have any of these products? It goes to this group. If not, if it meets this criteria, it looks at the record type, and it's a total of 4 Chatter groups. That's it, instead of the 15 or so email alerts that were going out. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Office hours for the win.
Quick follow-up, because we have a use case that felt a lot like this conversation. This was almost a month ago, I think, right, that we talked about this?
It was a while ago, yeah.
So are the posts happening automatically to those groups, or are they just being asked to make a post to the appropriate group when certain things happen?
Oh it's a flow on closed one.
And how does it automatically post to all the groups, or is there logic to say in certain cases, and that it's data that's on the opportunity that triggers it?
Yes and yes.
Cool. All right. I'm going to steal it. Thank you.
Have fun.
So here's what I'm going to do. Once this goes up on YouTube, I'm going to put it straight to the 3.5 minute mark where you said that.
And you were right.
Share that time stamped over to my wife to say, hey, I was right about something.
Nice. All right.
Oh, happy day. Anyway, not about me. Awesome. Glad that worked. I mean, that's great to hear that, like, that a VP or some other business leader was willing to hear that there's a different way than what they had in their mind, because whether it's business, sales, whoever, they're of course the smartest people in the room. So just make it so. I'm like, no, there's always a better way. So that's that. I mean, awesome. Congratulations to you for being able to punch through that wall and get them to hear a different idea.
And it was sort of proof of concept. I had to just ask them, like, let's just try this for now. And I left the email alerts running. And so they ran in tandem and I didn't have any feedback, like, okay, turned those off. Mm-hmm. And so it had to kind of prove, it had to prove itself, but yeah, it works.
Nice.
Awesome.
Strong work.
Okay. The next item was Christine had a question and lots of great answers in the success community. I can't say that I've seen Christine join, but I wanted to give her an opportunity to speak up if it was something that they wanted to talk about in detail. Basically, they were tracking customer referrals, and there was a long thread about the best ways to do that. It looks like Inez helped solve it. I don't think we're going to go into it if she's not here to give some color, but if you want to read a nice little opportunity of an example of our community helping each other out virtually, it's there in the MVP Office Hours chat. So I think I will skip that for now. So now I just have to figure out how to get back to my screen. There it is. All right. So that's it as far as the success. I don't remember seeing an email of any reference in the last 2 weeks. Dale, do you remember seeing anything? Joy, do you remember seeing anything?
No. It looks like we have Janet with a question about days excluding weekends formula.
Yeah. Hey, Squire, this brings back the conversation we had about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I did not win the battle, unfortunately. So a little bit of background. I reached out to Squire here a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, our team has decided that they want to put some automation on a very sacred field in Salesforce called the close date on the opportunity. I lost the battle, and so here I am. I've got the components built out in Process Builder so that when an opportunity has its stage change, that it takes today's date plus X number of days. Then they threw the monkey wrench in, but we don't want it to count weekends. And so I've never worked with that type of formula in Salesforce before. I went out, was kind of poking around, and I saw lots of stuff that was a little bit kind of what seemed to be over my head at that point. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what is the best way to go about doing this? So I can even share my screen. That's not an issue. So we are not strong flow users. And so it is in Process Builder. But
so unless there's been an enhancement in the last couple of releases, unfortunately, Salesforce does not have a weekday function. Excel does. Like if you want to do this in Excel, you could definitely do that because Excel does respect weekdays versus all days or whatever. What do you have? I probably shouldn't have cut you off. What do you have?
Oh, that's okay. So each one of these is when the stage equals a certain value. Right now I have it setting the close date to like today plus 44. Mm-hmm. And so, that would be 42 days would give me 6 weeks plus 2 days. And so now they want to say, okay, but I don't want it to include weekends. So for example, if I were to leave it as it is, the close date could potentially be a Saturday or a Sunday, and that doesn't make them happy.
So why are we thinking about this in terms of days? Because if I'm going to make a big assumption here that if they don't want the end result to be a weekend, are they going to be working weekends? If they were to leverage today as a day, if prospect or if stage is prospect and you want the close date to be 6 weeks out, why can't you use 42 under the assumption that they're only 42 plus today?
Because not all of them are full weeks. So in this case, it is, 42 days. Like some of them are, one of them I think is like 30 days from today. So 30 days from today on a calendar might end up being a Sunday. And they don't want a close date on a Sunday. They would want it to be 30 business days from today. So it would always land Monday through Friday.
Right. So can we assume though that they're only going to be doing this work Monday through Friday? Or
there's another component to this, but yeah. The other component is that I'm going to move all of these when the stage changes. And so here comes the fun part, Squire, is the 3 of the 5 stages of the opportunity will go into an automation where every morning at 2 a.m., it's going to fire and change the date to be today plus 30.
Well, so I guess what I'm wondering though is why can we not think of this in the perspective of weeks? Why does it have to be days? Because again, if there's an assumption that the stage is only going to be changed by someone on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that they're not going to work weekends, can you pivot the mindset from weeks to days? Because then 30 business days from now, you can play with that. That's 6 times 5. So actually say 6 times 7, because if today is Friday and you add 42 days on a regular calendar, that's actually going to be 30 business days. If they're not ever going to change anything on a Saturday or a Sunday, and you calculate in full weeks, you're not going to end up with a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah, so that'll work for this component of it. Like we can put this into weeks. The tricky part comes in the other half of it is that this will change when they change the stage. But then I don't even know how to describe it. It's such a disaster, Dale. So what they wanted to do is like when the stage changes, they wanted to change to today plus X, right? But then if it's in like qualifying, prospect, or candidate submitted, they want the close date to shift every single day. So like today it will be plus 30. So if today is, let's say it's August 1st, today it would be plus 30. So it would be August 30th, 31st. Then tomorrow it's going to refresh at 2 a.m. and now it'll be September 1st because it's going off of today. Then the next day it becomes September 2nd, then September 3rd. Like,
why? Why? I'm just going to put that one
I know.
out there.
Thank you very much.
She's not going to join us anymore because between you and I asking why, she's probably going to pull her hair out.
Yeah. And for the record, today is my birthday. So it's like,
oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I was
Why am I working on my birthday, first of all? But like, I cannot tell you how many times I have put this into Excel to show them what this is going to do with their financial forecast, what this is going to do. Like, do you realize that your close dates are going to look like a hill? Like,
right. You are being tasked with reporting garbage information.
Yep.
Pretty much.
So
I know this is going on YouTube and I don't really care.
That's okay.
We won't tag you. We'll
yeah.
But it's okay. Like, I don't know the best way. And maybe that answer is if you guys tell me as MVPs, like, look it, like, this is going to take me hours to put this through the system and test it, because now I'm going to have to let it sit in the sandbox for several days because it's going to be a rolling thing where every time the next day changes, the date changes. So it's kind of like, is that, or do I go back and tell them like, come up with weeks and like, let's go from there. Like, why can't we use this to be 6 weeks and this is 5 weeks and this is 4 weeks and this is 2 weeks and that is it. Like, we're already automating your close date, which I don't want to do in the first place.
And I think there's probably a really good conversation to just suggest to them that arbitrarily adding days doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen faster, because like, I'll make something up and say, if we're just going to add 6 days on a Friday, that's going to put it to the following Monday. There's 2 weekends in there. Like, you're not getting the outcome you expect. Like, just, hit them over the head with logic. I think that, to Dale's point, like, weeks makes more sense there because it's easy for you to manage, and it makes more sense to say, a week from today, 2 weeks from today, 3 weeks from today.
Especially if you're only changing it, like you said, to Dale's point, like the stage piece is the easy component. It's
So Stu put a link into the chat that is really helpful. We've used this in the past too. You basically just determine, after you figure out a date, what day of the week it is. And then in that statement, you can add to it.
There's a weekday. Weekday is a thing in Salesforce.
Okay. Because it didn't used to be.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I know. Oh yeah, no. Oh gosh, no. You don't have to. There's a weekday. So it's like weekday, and then you put a date in, and essentially it tells you the day of the week. Because I'm doing kind of something kind of sort of similar, but on cases. So it sets a date in the future. So I have a case formula. It's like week. I mean, if you want, I can share real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
But it's not as complex as you're trying to do. Because it's only setting it, like basically saying that we don't want the next action date to be on a weekend.
Okay.
And this is in Flow, but so it's saying like I did have to put this into Excel to figure out how many days it had to set things forward. So this is probably the most complex one. So it's like if today, so like if the case comes in on today, and I think Monday I can't remember if it starts with Monday or Sunday.
Well, in Salesforce and Excel, I think are actually a day off of each other. I think I figured that out, that like.
So essentially, so it's like if the weekday number of today is 1, then my next action date becomes today plus 5. If it's, so this is how I mean, it's not in order here, but this is how I broke it out. So this was faster than finding the Excel sheet where I had to plot it out. So it's not quite as crazy as the thing that Stu posted, which I am so thankful.
I love crazy.
But one of us does.
I think as the group mentioned, though, this isn't going to handle. It's not going to handle 3-day holidays. It's not going to handle Labor Day or.
They were willing to. Right, my group.
Ours are compromising on holidays. Like I got them to do that.
But the other thing, every organization I've been into, the VP of Sales or the RevOps manager, they're going to eventually have some reporting or some analyst come in and say, you're going to measure your sales reps based on a few things, a few health reports that they're going to have on their sales reps. And one of those health reports is how many times do they push the close date out on their opportunities? And they're going to look at all your opportunities and say, they push their close dates out all the time. And then they're going to come back to the sales managers and say, you're doing a bad job because your sales reps aren't closing the opportunities inside the stages that they're supposed to be. This is a common sales management tool. And then they're going to come to the Salesforce admin and say, what is wrong with our system? Do we need a new system? And you're going to say, you
told me to build this.
That's not a good answer. You told me to do it is not a valid answer. Sorry.
Hold on. It's the most valid answer, but Stu's right. It's not a valid answer.
It's not a valid answer. No, and that's where I think this is going to end up, like coming back, because, and this is the conversation that Squire and I had, a couple of weeks ago, and that is, this is ultimately like a salesperson's job is to manage the opportunities in Salesforce and to manage start dates and close dates and everything associated with an opportunity. that would be like me being responsible for assigning Salesforce users licenses and just not giving them to them and then wondering why they can't access the system. Like, that's part of my job. You know, and so therefore, like, this is part of a salesperson's job, is to manage start and end dates on an opportunity. And the answer that is coming back is they don't have time. And so automating the fact that they don't have time isn't going to solve the issue. I think it's going to end up coming back to bite us, and we're going to end up taking it back out. But I've had so much push from so many people that it's pretty much, hey, do what you can do to make it work. So I'm so stuck. Like, well, I'm not at a high enough pay grade to say no.
And here's probably another component to it is a cultural thing that Salesforce has, unfortunately, ever since Salesforce was easy enough to configure and put in front of everybody's faces and track all this information, it became referred to as Big Brother. It's the negative mindset of, if I make all these changes, or if I'm not right, I'm going to be punished or whatever. No. Business, you need to change your mindset of, this is a system of data to help make informed decisions. If it's not right, that's okay. Let's figure out how to correct it. We can do this collectively with the end goal of closing the sale or helping user behavior or whatever. But Salesforce across many organizations has gotten a bad name as just, you know, being Big Brother and essentially a punisher. And if leadership can change their mindset to, no, it's a really great tool for capturing information, and we just need to foster good behavior of our users, we can really get our investment out of this. And it sucks that it then falls on your plate to have to spend all this time, all this energy, drain system resources, to be perfectly honest, because this sounds like a nightmare of an automation that is stealing capabilities from other things that you could be doing to harness the power of Salesforce. Do you have are you on the business side or the IT side?
IT side. You're
on IT. Do you have any strong chain of advocacy that you can bring your recommendations to? Like, as a consultant, as a BA, if I hear something like this and I say, this is not good, we say, okay, be the consultant, put together your recommendations and with your whys. Do you have an advocate in your chain of command to help you push your message? Because you are 100% on the right track, but this is not good.
Right. And I think that's one of the things Squire and I talked about was, like, he said, like, the 5 whys. Like, why do you want to do this? And then when they answer that, why do you want to do this? And why do you want to do that? And, like, I raised that question, you know, we don't have a strong BPA. And so, truth be told, like, we're in a big transition period. Blue Tree Network is becoming Tegria, which is like trying to combine, and I'll be honest here, like 14 companies into one. It's gonna get messy before it gets better. But I don't really have like a business analyst that I can lean on, but I could make that request at this point. Like, I could go to my supervisor and be like, hey, look at, like, you need to put a BPA on this who can do the whys and the requirements and put it all together, because I'm not sure the ROI is worth my time.
Right.
Absolutely. Especially because we don't know what our Salesforce CRM is going to look like in 6 to 9 months. We've got 6 or 7 Salesforce instances across the 14 companies that will become one in some fashion.
All the more reason for that business analyst to, if anything, deflect off of you. So
yeah. Okay. Well, I did take a screenshot of Andrea's piece, but I think I'll go back to, you know, as best as I can, go back and be like, you know, I can do this here, but hey, if we really want to mess with it, then we start with weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, whenever they change the date, it's always weeks from that date.
And I will say, as you are starting to work through this, I'm a business analyst as my day job. Please feel free to reach out if there's anything that I can help. Like, if you're putting together any kind of like a deck or anything like that with talking points or whatever, very happy to help.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. I saw Joy raise her hand, so I didn't know.
I did. And so you said, did you start working on this in the sandbox?
It's in the sandbox, yeah.
Oh my. So Taco says hello.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Taco.
He's like 3 feet. He's 3 feet behind me. He has his favorite snack, but he's still whining at me. And the door's open. So he's like, I don't know. He's got some room. He's fine. Anyway, the question I had was, you've started this in the sandbox and you have some of that data where like the date's getting pushed. Yes.
Yep.
The opportunity history report, excuse me. So rude. Take your cheese and go.
It looks like you're yelling out the window.
I know it does.
Well, the irony being, yes. Anyway, so I'm wondering if you take that opportunity history and like along the lines of what Stuart had been saying was like, they're going to call out that this history looks crazy. Like the path that this is taking is crazy. And if you've started this in the sandbox, you will be able to share that. So as a thing, and just gonna like double down on the push count is definitely something I've implemented in almost every instance I've ever worked in, because they want to know when the salespeople are like, whoops, not gonna make it this month, push. Whoops, not gonna make it this month, push. Because, and it's not even like if they push it like 4 days, it's if they push it into the next month, right?
Yep.
And you know, I've had automations that change the close date when they close the opportunity to that day.
Right. Exactly.
But not, you know, not adjusting the stage to, you know, to 12 days from the last modified date on the stage. So, or whatever the case is. But I think you have a lot of like understanding of what they're trying to capture with that and like what they're trying to do. Like who's looking at that forecast data that wants it to be artificial? Like who wants the artificial sales, like close dates? Who wants it?
Our VP of sales.
So
sales, what's your process for your salespeople then? Like what, you completely disconnected the importance of the information from the process.
And the more I think about this, the more it sounds like the close date is considered a target date for the sales cycle.
Yes.
Like they expect each stage to take this number of days, but you can't change the close date based on that, right? Like that's how you get that number. And if they change the close date, like then they're losing the whole, like the number. You know, there is the possibility that like you create something that says, okay, you know, from this stage, we expect it to take X number of days, and it's a different field entirely than the close date. So that you're not really like, I don't know, destroying the forecast box, right? And you're like, okay, well, like we expect this based on our history. We expect this to close in X number of days from this stage.
Maybe using a different field than the close date itself.
Like some custom date that might say, you know, hopeful or like expected based on
estimated end date or something like that.
And or historical. And that's like really like, you're almost getting into AI, right? Because it's like, this is the history, this is what we expect, and like putting it all together. But what you're doing is going to take a static number and say, this is what we expect from this, this, and this, instead of it being a dynamic AI situation.
And I'll just throw the end cap on the pie today. And that is that not only do they want to automate close date, they want to automate start date.
I mean, that just makes total sense by not making any sense.
Wait, how do you automate start date on what?
So when the stage is changed, it will equal today plus, depending on what stage it is, like today plus 44 or something like that.
Is that like the start date that the product is active?
That's the date that the opportunity would start itself. So like that would, so we sell consulting services. So we sell Epic consulting services. And so like if we have an opportunity at Kaiser Permanente where we have someone starting there, then we would estimate that I changed the stage to candidate interviewing today. Therefore, its start date is estimated to be 44 days from the day I changed the stage.
I'll throw a whole new wrinkle in there and say you just need like financial force or something.
We have Kimball.
Or Kimball, yeah.
I'd love to be a designated hitter on your baseball team because my stats would be amazing.
Yep.
Home run every time. I'd be the best
every
softball player ever.
Yep.
I know. I'm glad you guys feel my pain and can, enjoy my humor in this, but
We feel you.
Am I really the only National League fan on this call? The DH sucks. It is the worst thing to ever hit baseball.
Milwaukee Brewers,
there you go. See? National League.
Go Brewers.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a lot of slow first basemen that have nothing to do after they can't play the field.
Just saying, if you're on defense, then you get to play offense. None of this freebie, no pitcher hitting junk.
You guys, this is the highlight of my week. Let me just tell you that.
And happy birthday.
Oh.
But yeah, it's, this just the conversation that we've had, your input has just reinforced the fact that what I've been telling them all along is this is just not.
So did you guys see Mike mentioned, and because he didn't unmute himself, he just chatted away, that the ask, it sounds like they're not measuring the sales cycle. They're measuring expectations. They're trying to display expectations. It's a totally different beast than what sales is supposed to be doing. To your point, it's sales' job to update this stuff. And if you take that data point away from them, when do you think the revenue is coming in?
Right. Because on the positive side, what if, okay, this is supposed to close 45 days from now, and then voila, you know what, the customer calls and says, we're going to close tomorrow. What does that do if things get escalated? You're pushing back. Oh crap, it's right now.
And all of a sudden it's there, right?
Right.
Yeah. It feels like whip almost, right? It's not about the sales cycle. It's just about, here's the deals that we think are going to close, just because we want to know like the funnel versus anything, which I know, Janet, you and I talked about maybe just having a field that does that with a standard formula.
Yep.
That way there's no automation doing an update. You just had a formula field that's so you have a work in progress number based on today's date and the stage, but then you actually have a close date or expected close date that means what it's supposed to mean. Maybe that hits both values then.
Okay. Yeah, let me talk to my boss, who's out till Monday, but get some sort of analyst who can pull this together and kind of put all the components and really ask the multiple whys behind this, and really get it documented. Because I think if somebody actually sat down at the table with them and said why, they're going to talk themselves out of it.
Yeah.
Well,
and asking why. I'm sorry, go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and asking why. I mean, we've all been in that technical chair, and when we ask why, it just seems like pushing back.
Right. For
some reason, different personas asking why come across in a different way, and maybe that's all you need.
And I think that's part of it. It's it seems like every time we ask for a request, you guys are always pushing back. We're not pushing back. We're asking questions about how you want something set up in the system, so that we don't just throw a field in there as a multi-select pick list and pound a baby seal, and then you want to know why you can't get it out in the report the way you want it. We do ask questions. It's not meant to be that we don't want to do things. It's that we want to do it right, so that you get the information out of the system that you can use, so glad I could make you laugh, Dale. You almost fell off your chair. But
haven't had a good Steve Moe shout out in a while.
It's true. It's you're not pushing back. You are looking for you're looking to understand, because for all you know, this is something that you definitely need to apply to all the different sales channels that you have, or you need to apply it so that the entire company can see it. But you're trying to understand how this relates to your company's key indicators, or whatever you want to call them, right? Because it's when it comes down to it, it's those key metrics, that's what everyone's trying to work towards. Yep. Right. And so maybe that's a way to put this is how does this automation contribute to our key indicating, our reporting, how?
So who's familiar with Simon Sinek's Golden Circle? Anyone? What? I'm so shocked whenever I bring that up as a reference and everybody's like, no, I never heard of it. So Simon Sinek did a TED talk 10, 11 years ago. on, and it's not called Golden Circle, but it's what he talks about. It's like, how do leaders lead or whatever. So you've got 3 layers. You have the outer layer is your what, your next layer is your how, and then the core is the why. And so many organizations and processes fail because they focus on the what, not the why. You have to go from the why and work your way out. And the example that he uses is TiVo. TiVo came out and said, hey, you can record your shows and start and stop them whenever you want. Okay. Ooh, wow. TiVo has become a verb because as a noun, it sucked. You TiVo with your DVR, you TiVo with Hulu, whatever. Whereas companies like Apple said, like they brought about the customer experience. You want to feel good about what you're doing. You want, like, if TiVo had gone with empower you to control your entertainment experience, they would have been a lot more successful. That's why is so important. It's a 20-minute video that I think anybody in life needs to watch. I mean, I've used it on my kids. Yep, there you go. Perfect. My 5 and 7-year-olds know what Simon Sinek's Golden Circle is. When they act up because they're fighting with each other, why? I don't necessarily care that you hit each other. I mean, I do care that you hit each other, but why did you get into this fight? Why do you think mom and I are upset that you hit each other? Why just really gets to the core of it, going back to, you're not pushing back.
Yep.
If you don't have a why, you're just going to have a bunch of silos and junk functionality and all of it. So that's everyone.
I've monopolized the conversation for the afternoon.
Oh, I mean, this is this did not monopolize it at all, because this is a problem that so many other admins and IT organizations and everybody faces, is being stuck with really bad demands. And I asked if you have a chain of advocacy, because that's also part of becoming a successful admin, is that when you're passionate about why something should or should not be, it does take a village, whether it's us in the community or if it's your director or whoever. Sometimes you can only go so far, and you need someone to hand the baton off to help push it further, because then in the end, it's going to come back. The rewards will come back to you in just like tenfold.
Yeah. Awesome. No, this has all been very helpful. I appreciate it.
All right. I think that's everything from. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was just Janet jumping in. So I've lost track. Who's up next?
The chat's really long. We've been active.
I mean, the chat is all pertaining to this, because I think we've all been there, done that. I mean, you are feeling the pain that many of us have felt. So
So I think Andrea brought up a question about implementing like an office hours for her company. And I had sent her a couple of ideas, but I'm curious to see if anyone else has done this similar thing. Because Andrea, I think you're looking for setting up something like what we do here.
Yeah.
But maybe on like an internal scale. Yes.
Basically, the idea where people can opt in. So we'll have a set time, like every other week, doing it 2 days a week, repeating content different, like one morning, one afternoon. But then give it, like, as somebody who doesn't remember something, if it's not on my calendar, like having that, like, again, the way that y'all have this set up is really nice in that I can register, but then you also have, I'm assuming it's automated, that it goes out where, like, to send the reminder ahead of time to sign up.
So I have a question for you. Does your team have like a weekly update that goes out at all?
No,
or
not our team.
Well, maybe the company, the folks that use Salesforce, like get a weekly update from someone higher up. That's one place to put in like this, like a meeting link where anyone can join. Another option is, to put a link in your Salesforce help text and train them up to that custom help link to the meeting. That happens every other whatever. You could also put in a banner along your homepage with the link embedded. Or you could do like a pop-up, what is that? The
Notification.
yeah,
Toast? Are you talking about Toast?
In-app guidance, Toast message.
That's the in-app guidance word that I was looking for, in-app guidance. And so there's a couple different ways you can do that, and you just have it pop up on, whenever you want. But I think the key is to socialize it like within the teams and the meetings and be like, okay, so you're having a problem. The best time to talk to me about this is every other Friday at 2:00 or whatever it is. I used to do every Friday at 3:00, and they all brought beer. It was great. Because I was in a conference room and they're like, oh, I've got this question. I can't figure this out. And all the salespeople, they talk so much after they've had that first or second Friday afternoon beer. And then they're just like, they get down to like, what's really their issue, like what the real roadblock is. Might not have anything to do with Salesforce at all. It might have to do with the process that they've been asked to follow. And it's not a Salesforce issue, but you've been harping on them about not updating their close date, but they say it's, something's in their way. But you can find out a whole lot of information doing that kind of, that kind of event with your team, your company.
And so but it's up to them to like put it on their own. Well, unless
it's an open meeting, and I've done it with clients too, where I tell them, I was like, so here's the thing, I'm going to be working on stuff for you anyway at this time. I'm going to have an open Zoom meeting. Everybody's allowed to come. The link is there. I have a chatter group that has it open. It's all been socialized. It's mentioned every week at the sales meeting. They're like, hey, if you have Salesforce questions, Joy's available at this time this week. And it's the socialization of it that is really, key, because here, Stuart, hi. Here we've got Twitter and email and stuff, but you have to decide what the best angle is for your group. Stuart.
I have a question. What is the goal, Andrea? What's your goal for these sessions?
Well, so we want to start with user training. We need to build more of a relationship with our users, in that we're fully, not just we're fully remote. I will be remote, same like the other admin. We have 400 users. We started with a survey to understand their pain points or whatever. We're trying to just build relationships and also target our work, be more purposeful with the stuff that we're working on, but then also be proactive with training, or just give them best practice. This is how you favorite something, whatever it might be. We haven't gone through figure out all the topics yet, but it's sort of a help us help them type of or have them help us.
Yeah. So you're just trying to refresh and rekindle relationships and refresh their knowledge about stuff, and maybe update them on release information that might help them immensely. So maybe you invite them all and they can decline the invitation.
So here's what I did when I was an admin. I would do it in four different parts. The first one was a training. I would do a training once a month and invite anyone. The second one was an Ask Me Anything question answer. You bring your question and we will try and answer it. And if we can't answer it, we'll get back to you. Third one was, hey, we're building cool stuff for you ongoing, or Salesforce is building cool stuff for you. And so this is an update session of what we're building for you or what Salesforce is building for you. So keep this in mind. It's coming, safe harbor sort of stuff. And then the fourth one is, we're going to have you tell us how you're using it. And so we would pick out a department, the sales department or the marketing department, or users that are using Salesforce. And we would ask them to come, and that 5 minutes to 30 minutes, it didn't matter how much they talked, but tell us how you're using Salesforce, and other people can come and listen. Those were the most interesting, not only for us as admins, but for the other users, because they would sit there and say, well, I didn't know that the membership department could do that with Salesforce. Why aren't we doing that with Salesforce? And that would strike up all sorts of interesting conversation between the users that we could never have with them because we don't know how users actually work.
Show and tell.
Show and tell. And so those
Yeah.
are the four things we had, and we would have them once a month. If there were 4 weeks in a month, those would be our weeks.
Different topic, interesting.
Yep.
We have a lot of ideas. Like I said, the big thing is just getting it out there. Because we sent a link to the survey, but the other admin emailed all users from within Salesforce because we don't have a distribution list, and our Slack channel does not have everybody in it. So a quick solution was this, and there was literally a response from a subset. They're like, "Oh, well, we didn't think it was real, so we just deleted it, or we didn't, or something like, or something. We didn't think it was real." I don't remember what the reaction, but basically they just so.
If I could add something, because I like your idea. So at Baird, we have 13 business units, all using it slightly differently globally. So it's really hard to get everyone on the same page at the same time in the same way. And so what we ended up doing was like the flavors that you are referencing, what we are doing now is every week we send out kind of a, hey, did you know email? It's like marketing heavy, so similar to how we get blasted by Salesforce constantly, that just talks about a feature or a change or an idea or something that's coming in winter or whatever. Just, like it's a paragraph. It's small enough they actually read it. But at the bottom, there's 3 links. And one is got questions, want training, or post ideas. And those 3 links will either take you to a chatter group or submit a case or take you right to Trailhead. And so all we're doing is almost like grassrooting it. And what we're able to do now is the people who actually read it and care about it are the people we're starting to kind of sink our hooks into. And that way, what you were describing, Stuart, works really great if you've got everyone on the same page, but we don't. But that grassroots kind of like drip campaign is how we're trying to get them to what you were talking about. And it gives us a chance to talk a little bit about the cool stuff that we do too. So it's not always, hey, did you know that Einstein search is a thing? That's a marketing thing. But I can say, hey, did you know that we built a really cool flow to automatically assign you to a group? Like that gives us a chance to kind of pound our chests and show the value and do like you were saying, Stuart, just people say, oh, wait, you can automatically send people to groups. Like it's starting to build momentum. It's been useful.
Does that help, Andrea?
Yeah, it's a lot of ideas, and I think the other admin, I think she'll be excited to hear. I'm taking notes, so she'll be excited to hear all of this kind of stuff. We just have to, bring it together and then go and see how this all pans out. So I appreciate it all. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Sarah had a question about some display issues. If she's still on, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent.
Trying to start my video. Come on.
It's just the screen share.
Yeah. Actually, I will share my sandbox to show you what is going on. So I keep having these weird display is not what I'm expecting. Luckily, this one isn't in Experience Cloud, but here is a Lightning record page that has a single related list campaign influence. That's the component is single related list that I'm using to display it. You'll notice there's not even a number next to campaign influence, but if you click on it, there are in fact 2 campaign influences. That's odd. But if you look at the opportunity where it's displayed, again, it's not showing that. I think if you refresh the tab or refresh the whole window, it might show up, but that's kind of weird. Has anybody seen anything like that?
No.
Yes, actually.
Oh, go.
Check, flip to classic and see if it shows up there.
I was actually going to suggest coming out of console.
Oh, okay.
If Salesforce says they're at full feature parity with Lightning, they're lying because there's still a whole bunch of stuff that hasn't been brought over into Lightning yet.
I don't even know how to find my way around in Classic. since we're lightning first at my organization. So hang on a
quick
second.
link to the top for
Youngins.
campaign.
I know, right? Okay, so here's definitely, this is the same opportunity, I believe.
Right there, campaign influence 2.
Yeah, we'll show.
Well,
Yeah, so it definitely
even-
shows it. So it's
yeah.
just a weird lightning thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Or
what I
console.
was asking, right? Like
Or console, right?
Come out of console,
I'm not a console view.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I don't know what to call the other view. It's not console.
Standard
it's
navigation.
general. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we pretty much exclusively use standard or use console at my org. But
Well, so I'm
think I have
curious
an app.
because that's going to help narrow down what's going on. Like,
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like we have 3 experiences. You have classic, you have lightning, and now you have lightning consoles.
Right.
oh, we had console and classic too, though. So
Yeah, but even then,
But
it's
really only for service, right? Or
right.
nope,
It was-
I used it for sales. It was great.
okay.
So
So here we are in just a regular standard view.
Yeah, so there's a link in the design doc that says that campaign influence is not actually available in Lightning experience. So
Oh, interesting.
which means that it's giving you that weird, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, because
Right?
yeah, here in standard it is showing.
Yeah.
So my guess is if we went back to console now, it would also show there. It's like a really weird. So this is
Touchy.
just a lightning thing, I guess.
It's
Like
a-
not
it's
quite
a-
there
it's
yet.
It's an object thing because they're saying it doesn't
Mm.
have. You know, I don't throw all of lightning under the bus. Throw the
Right,
one
right.
needle under the bus.
Just campaign influence. That's
Right.
okay.
It's kind of like you know, activities are special. You know, leads are
Right.
special. Like let's like just narrow it down because I think
Yeah. See,
if
now
you
it is
I don't
showing
know-
in console. So
yeah,
who
I don't know if
knows?
you have users in both classic and lightning, but man, they love to throw lightning under the bus.
No, I was very fortunate in that Lightning came out right when we adopted Salesforce. So my
You always have
users
been.
don't even know the
no.
classics exists.
Those
So.
poor souls, if they ever leave your company and they go to some like visual force
Also,
heavy space.
super jealous.
That's true.
Excellent. So I hope that helps. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like there's nothing I can do about it, I suppose, but sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't until we catch up on that object. Cool.
It would be handy. Oh,
Should I
yeah.
submit a case, do you think?
Yeah, you
Certainly
can
didn't
try
hurt.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
I was
Or
wondering
there
if
might be an idea to vote up.
Mm-hmm.
a roll up helper, like a roll up.
Oh yeah, I thought about
somewhere.
using a lightning enhanced grid or sortable data grid instead of the related list component.
There's a
Or-
flow data table component that is really, really cool on SF, unofficial SF.
That's true. In fact, actually, I don't know if you caught, but the like right under where that related list was is a flow that uses that data table to assign the influence. So
could you do like a or a lightning like chart, like a lightning graph in the on the record that would pick up, that would like give the records relate, you know, I don't know. I'm just trying to work around it because it's clearly not being cooperative.
Yeah, no, I think my first go-to would be like enhanced lightning grid. That component I use elsewhere. It's basically a related list, but you have to specify more things. So.
All right, report back with us. Let us know.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if it was a known issue, and apparently it is.
All of my known issues are always like phrased differently than my head does. So that's always my challenge. I'm like, how come I don't Google the way like the known issues are out there? Darn it. Darn it. Anything else?
All right. We have a minute and change left, and I want to make sure we don't miss anybody, but this was a good conversation. Is there anything else? A lot of good comments, but I don't know if there's any questions buried in there.
Squire, are you still planning on sometime in the future demonstrating that really cool Lightning Web Component module that you found?
I am. I don't know how I'm going to fit it in, but yeah, I would love to do that for anybody who wants to be part of it. And we'd reach out to Eric and see if he wants to be part of it too, but I'd be happy to do it.
You're going to do it in a big joint user group, remember?
Yeah, the multi-regional user group is going to be great. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Sign me up.
Also known
Got
as Midwest Dreaming. Right?
Oh, wouldn't that be cool? Oh man.
Next summer.
I want
Next
it tomorrow.
I know.
Conferences so much.
Wait, people, what? Huh? It's so weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think for the first time in probably a year, we're going to end on time. But it was awesome to see all of you, and thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you learned something, or you taught somebody something, or maybe you did a little bit of both. So thank you all.
I was right.
And Dale was right. We can't lose track of that.
Until he started talking about the National League, and then everything went down the drain.
Hey.
I'm with you,
We
Dale.
learned where his mind really is.
All right.
Hey, Giants, best record in the majors right now. For real this year.
Go Brewers.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye all. Thank you.
Bye.
It's all craziness. It's all